broadcasting from Southern California. Welcome to another edition of Dojo Live. Today is Wednesday, February 17th, 2020. 2 days away from my 50th birthday, everyone. So anyway, I'm joined by Carlos Ponce, my co-host, co-producer, partner in crime in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hi, Carlos. Welcome back. And of course, our guest, this is why we do this, Jordan Wexler, who's the CEO at Early Bird, broadcasting from Brooklyn's in the house. Hi, Jordan. Welcome to the show.
Thank
All right.
you.
Welcome to the show. So before we go into it, it's an interesting topic today about how to invest in the next generation, specifically financial literacy for the next generation. Probably for all of us need a little bit more financial literacy, surely. But before we go into that topic, let's get to know you a little bit. Please tell us everything about Jordan.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. Excited to be here. So I'm Jordan Wexler, CEO of Early Bird, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, as you said, the wonderful world of New York City. Had the privilege of actually being a serial entrepreneur for many years now. Started my first business in China back in 2012. Went out there and started a boutique consulting firm called Succeed Overseas. That was this exciting, wild adventure. We can talk for another day. Sold that company in 2014 in Shanghai. And it's actually where I met my business partner today, Caleb Frankel. And came back, started another venture, and then ended up joining a software development company called Agility as the COO for about 4 years. End-to-end product development. So got to work with just incredible early stage startups, stage startups, really learning from just awesome entrepreneurs how to bring products to market. And then on the other side of it, I also started a nonprofit with my father called Recovery Through Entrepreneurship that teaches digital literacy and entrepreneurial skills to previously incarcerated individuals. And so we really go through a process of learning how do you maximize the beauty of a computer today and the accessibility to education and knowledge, and then how do you start to really think about the world from an entrepreneurial lens and an entrepreneurial mentality. So identifying problems and designing and building solutions so that you can be proactive and start to really, launch the next stage of their career.
I love it. We could have a whole show just about the nonprofit. We might have to book you back for that. But today we're talking about Early Bird. Tell us what it's all about. What gave birth to this idea? What do you guys do?
Yeah. So Early Bird all started 3 years ago when my beautiful baby niece was born, Isadora, and found myself head over heels spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the most ridiculous things you could ever imagine. Baby Nick's shoes that cost me $100, just things that she never wore or needed. And I thought that this was a waste, and I wanted to have a bigger impact in her life. So I actually proactively went into Robinhood 3 Christmases ago, found an index fund I liked, put in $500, and I called it the Jordo Fun Fund. And I was going to do that every year, bring her along the journey, teach her everything I could. Then my best friend had twins. I was named the Godfather, same story. This time, 6 best friends, all trying to buy stuff for them. We spent $400 and just wasted our money. And so for me, investing really changed my life. When I was 10 years old, I was lucky enough that my dad gave me some money in a brokerage account and gave me one rule: I couldn't take out the money. And I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. I'm rich. I just went super deep into what is investing and how does it work, and build this beautiful relationship with my father, talking about business and just, how, and that was really the beginning of my entrepreneurial interest and excitement. And I ended up using those funds to fund Succeed Overseas that I just mentioned. And of course, credit the ability to do that with capital from the young age. And then more importantly is that deep knowledge and confidence that you get understanding money. And that is really what we're talking a lot about today, is that at the earliest stage, learning about finance and money in a way that is approachable and applicable to everyday life. And that changed everything for me. And so we did a deep dive, competitive analysis, what's available out there. There's lots of great apps and robo-advisors, like apps like Acorn, Stash, Wealthfront, that are all doing great work. But we found that none of them were solely focusing on next generational wealth. And more importantly, none of them have found a way to truly leverage and tap into the gifting economy and the power of your network and community around these kids we love most, which I'm sure you guys have many kids in your lives that, there are ways to give more to them and stay more connected to them. And that's how Early Bird started. All back in 2019 was when it got really serious, and was able to recruit my co-founder, Caleb Frankel, who has had a very successful career in the startup world, and we both went all in, and it's been quite the journey since.
Awesome. All right, let's go right into it. Carlos, please introduce the topic today. I'm curious to go right into it today. Please unmute yourself first.
The old mute.
Yeah, I mean, since we're all, as you probably know, we're all working from home these days, so we got to keep the noise out, guys. So please bear with me. So, Jordan, thank you for joining us today on the show. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. So, listen, Julio, about the topic. Well, as you and the audience might know, we're all going through a very uncertain time, to say the least, and there's a lot of ups and downs. So, a lot of us who are parents might be wondering how we can raise our kids with to be financially literate, thinking ahead, right? So especially with so much debt and financial uncertainty. So today the topic that Jordan chose was how to invest in the next generation, right? Cool. Jordan, first question for you is, why did you choose this particular topic for this conversation? And why did you think it was relevant for this day and age? Let's start with that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely a great question. So for us in Early Bird, we really have three key pillars of success and value: financial literacy, financial empowerment, financial freedom.
Right.
And we think it is just so critical in today's world to truly find ways at the youngest age to begin that introduction about what is investing and saving, and really understanding the order of operations in that story of knowledge, right? Because a lot of people now are looking at ways to give kids debit cards and potentially credit cards, and that is all really great and teaching a lot of important values. But what's most important is to actually start with that foundational knowledge of what does it mean to save, and more importantly, what does it mean to invest and to have your money make money. And the beauty of it is that a 5-year-old kid can actually begin to comprehend that and digest that information. And as we know, kids are sponges, and if you start them at those earliest ages, the beauty of that knowledge that you can gain is incredible and so impactful. And unfortunately, schooling today and traditional educational curriculums do not cover this subject like we believe that it really needs to and should, because it's one of the most practical applications of your life, right? How do you establish a true financial foundation that you can continue to build on top of?
Great. Thank you, Jordan.
So the big question, we get it, the three pillars, love that. And they seem linear in fashion, I would assume, right? So how do you guys go about creating awareness for this next generation about these three pillars? How does the company work to do that?
So a lot of it is based around the parent, right? How do you, because as parents, there are many responsibilities, of course. And so really trying to design and facilitate a process to build that bridge of knowledge. And for kids, what we believe is the most important thing is this idea of contextualized learning, right? And so it's really as easy as a couple key questions to sit down with your kid. And so we are working with parents on how do you ask these and how do you start to engage your kid in both the knowledge of investing and then actually seeing your money invested. And so those questions revolve around simple things like, what thing do you love most in today's world? And so a lot of kids will go, video games or Netflix. Amazing. Did you know that Netflix is a company? And they go, yeah, maybe. And you can take the kid down that journey of understanding, did you know that you can actually own a piece of Netflix? And they go, what? I don't know, maybe. And that if you owned Netflix at this point, and you can start to look at some really easy numbers, and you put $100 of your allowance or $50 or $10 of your allowance in, that in 10 years you would have this much money. And so using real life examples to truly take a kid on a journey, but have them kind of figured out along the way, and have them then start to ask questions. Video games, right? What's your favorite video game? Get into the idea of, that there are video game makers, right? Like Activision or EA, and that, how do these companies operate? How much did you pay for Call of Duty, right? $60, that's a lot of money. How many kids do you think are on Call of Duty? Millions? Wow. Well, how, that company must be making a lot of money. They must be doing pretty well. Wouldn't that be interesting if you not only play the video game, but you can also own it? And starting to get them excited around these simple ideas, but before you know it, kids are, get extremely excited, and then using early bird as a beautiful entry tool to say, look, we actually are already investing inside of these companies, and your money that maybe you're aware of or not, is actually already starting to make money. And let's now get more involved in that education process. And for us, it's about content, right? So we have a blog called The Worm, and then we have a weekly newsletter that kind of offered current topics on interesting things that you can sit down with your kid and talk to them about.
I love it. So, I mean, look, you can get custodial accounts with your bank, and you could certainly make investments on behalf of your minor children. But what I'm hearing is that you guys have sort of cornered a niche where the parent can involve the child in the process of investing and use fun display and content to get them involved early enough to learn about investing.
Yep.
So what are some of the feedback you've gotten from what age groups do the kids mostly respond to this in terms of your research so far?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what we are seeing, and one of our actual partnerships is with an awesome content organization called Benjamin Talks. And so they actually produce a really great newsletter that I highly recommend people to check out, parents that are trying to learn more about some of the foundational learnings about how to teach financial literacy. And so we partner with them, and we've designed content together. And so what we're finding is that you'd be really surprised how young kids are that they start to understand these ideas. We're looking at that 6-7-year-old range where they are asking about, with the accessibility of information and what kids see today. I mean, they ask about Tesla and Elon Musk as a character in their life now. I mean, they're all over the media, all over anywhere you look. And so it's impossible to avoid these topics. And these 6, 7, 8-year-olds are starting to really get excited and interested about it. One of the coolest things about Early Bird is that we are truly, one of our main focuses about story and about narrative. And so with every investment and every gift made, you're also able to record a short video, which allows for this emotional attachment and story to that $100 investment. And so in that story, you can tell these beautiful kind of time-stamped memories, right? And so, of course, what's the biggest thing that just happened last 3 weeks, right? GameStop and the whole GME craziness, right? And so I sent an investment to my niece, Izzy. I sent her $50 investment into her portfolio and gave her just a little context of what my experience was with GameStop and what happened. And she'll have that when in 20 years and look back and, have that kind of memory and timestamp in life, which is a really fun thing to be able to do.
Jordan, I got a question. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is that the Early Bird is mostly geared towards, excuse me, youth and children and younger audiences, right? Now, and I'm also assuming that whatever happens with the app and with the platform itself needs some kind of, how can I say this, participation or involvement by the parents, right? Because so there's like a combined effort there. So, but in this context, would you say that aspects like gamification and even the companies themselves in which to invest, for example, let's say, I'm just from the top of my head, Disney, for example, do you think that these types of elements are a game? There's an expression for that. I'm trying to remember it. It's a game changer. As it pertains to adoption.
Absolutely. Yeah. For us, what we've done is divide this into 4 stages of kind of education of financial literacy, right? You have 0 to 5, which is really primarily focused on the parent, right? And parents setting up this account and start investing, because for us, the most important thing for any parent is get started today. Now, there's no reason why you shouldn't be focused on something called dollar cost averaging, right? Where you figure out how much money you make a month, how much of that capital that you can take out from all of your expenses that you can put away every month or every week even, and you can start to invest now. That's the most important thing. So our primary focus is actually on the parents, right? To get them onboarded and to start investing and put away. $15 is better than none. And you'd be amazed to see what you can build for your child in 18 years, even without any involvement with the child and any contributions from gifts or anything else. So that's really the beginning stage, that 0 to 5. Then you have that 6 to 13 phase, which is a really exciting, now let's introduce this tool and let's introduce some of these ideas of investing. Like you just said, use real world examples. Disney, you love, Disney Plus, or, Netflix, Hulu, any of the things you watch on TV, all the video games, anything relatable. So it's providing those tools to have that conversation. And then at 13 is when we are designing out a view-only access for the child. So now the kid can actually download the app and they can actually know that they own this money. This is their fund. Even though they can't withdraw it or make it like actual investments, they can engage and start to get involved. And then at 18 or 21, depending on your state, they take ownership of these accounts. And now that is their money and they continue to invest for X amount of years until they want to end up using those funds for whatever it might be.
Jordan, one more thing that popped into my mind as I was listening to you, and because again we're talking about children here, we're talking about very young people. My question is, how do you, or through the platform, through Early Bird, how can we foster a long-term vision, especially in amongst kids who are not very well known for their patience? Like you taking them on a road trip, and they 30 minutes later, are we there yet? So it's kind of, they're intrinsically impatient because they don't have this long-term vision. How do you foster that?
Yeah, it's a great question. What we've found and what we're learning a lot from the parents on the app is actually giving the decision making to the kid. And so we have one of our advisors, as a parent, is on the app every week. He gives his kid, I think it's $7 per week, and his kid's like 5 years old, right? Okay. $7 per week. And so he literally has cash in hand of $7 or the Early Bird app. And he gives the kid the choice of, would you rather this cash now, or do you want to invest this? And you can see from his choices of, that he's made to invest that $7 is now $12. And so there's that immediate knowledge. They can see that, oh, wait, this has increased and there's something exciting there, and they can be involved in that process. But really the point becomes down to the decision of the child and giving them that opportunity and access. And sometimes, of course, they'll choose the $7 and maybe they choose that for the first 2 years. But, if the parent's also making investments, you're still showing the kid the progress of their funds that have been invested. And you can show them the gains or losses, of course, in their portfolio, and still find ways to get them to see the impact that it can have to make an investment. So that's, patience is, every kid is different. And that's why, of course, we encourage the parent to set us, they're investing for their kid, of course. So, but these are ways to get your kid to start being involved.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jordan.
I want to go back to something you said earlier. You alluded to, I think it was your nephew or someone, where you were going to add funds into their investment account. So is it safe to say that this platform also allows, let's say I have a birthday coming up, right? Could I tell my family members, hey, here's an option for you. Go buy some stock for my daughter. She's kind of interested in these things. Or is it able to extend where people can contribute stock to the portfolio?
We are a gifting platform, actually.
Really?
So we are a robo-advisor, but what is truly differentiated around Early Bird is that we are a gifting platform. So we are the easiest, most meaningful way to gift a financial asset. That is who we are. So Uncle Jordan can go into the app. I can select Izzy, my niece, how much I want to invest, $100, and then I'm able to record this video memory, and I'm able to click invest. And I'm able to send the best gift possible and the most meaningful gift possible to my niece. And so I just did one recently she lost her first tooth. And so I invested $15 as the tooth fairy. I dressed up as the tooth fairy, made a ridiculous dance, and I sent that off. And she doesn't maybe know the $15 investment because she's only, 4 years old now, but she saw that video and loved it. And every morning she asks, can I watch, Uncle Jordan as the tooth fairy? So she knows the app's there, the video lives there. So it's starting to introduce that. That's another piece of that. How do you get the kid involved? Is all these memories and fun, things that they get to see and be involved in at that earliest age. So she knows the video's there, but then the investment, of course, also happens. So absolutely, we are a gifting platform, and that's what we truly believe in. And it's shifting the dynamic too of gifting being transactional, right? One-off, you give a check, you give cash, that's it, you're done. That was a great birthday, fine. This is much more of a long-term connected transformational process, right? I've given that gift and now I'm part of that memory in her life forever. And I will be part of continuous milestones throughout her life because I want to celebrate those. And you can do that through Early Bird.
Brilliant. So, okay, so this begs this question now, right? In terms of next steps for you as a company in enabling parents or more people to be able to use this platform as a gifting solution, are there plans to incorporate, how you go to Target or what have you, check out, you have all these prepaid cards you could buy, or you go to CVS or Walgreens, right? Or is your plan to potentially also participate in something similar where someone could literally buy a early bird card investment and through some online code attach it to the person?
Yeah, QR code.
Because there's so much opportunity, it sounds, to open that up and really blow it out and turn this into a change in practice, right? The more it's, in other words, go to where the consumers are. What are the plans to do that? Are there plans to do something like that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. So, in our space, right, user acquisition is really the name of the game, right? This is a B2C company, so we're direct to consumer, and we really have to always find creative solutions on how do you get Early Bird out there and make it as easy and as accessible as possible. And so one of the things on the gifting element is definitely creating this physical representation of an Early Bird investment. And so right now we're designing out a card that's an AR card, so that it's a physical, so you'll get the card in the mail, and there'll be a QR code you can scan, the gift will pop up, but then you'll also be able to scan the card through your iPhone camera, and you'll be able to see the card come to life. So we have these characters in Early Bird, that's the bird and the worm, and so through AR, you'll be able to actually see the worm interact with the bird, and kids absolutely love it. And that's the beginning of that physical representation. We haven't gone down the road yet of offering, an actual gift card, but for us, partnerships is everything. So, finding awesome brands that are mission aligned, really invested in building a better financial future for the next generation, right? That's what we're talking about, and that's what we care about. And so every brand wants to be part of that journey. So we're working with a lot of different cool organizations that have physical products, like say diapers, or that we can add cards inside of those products as almost an add-on to someone going to buy it and then getting, a $15 investment from Pampers, or a $20 investment from, whatever baby brand or child brand that they're already buying. So it's this win-win solution. So for us, it's more that partnership world, so that we can get in front of people that are already invested in those brands, and now getting an extra add-on through an investment from Early Bird into their child.
I have to admit, I've never heard an easier way to save for your children's future than this. It just seems like such a simple, brilliant, and fun way to involve your child in their savings from early on. Carlos, I think you had a follow-up question.
Yeah, well, Jordan, and this is because we're approaching the final segment of today's conversation. I wouldn't want to end it without asking this particular question, and this is because a lot of our viewers are there. Many of our viewers might be even engineers who might at some point want to come work for you, will come work for Easy Bird, right? For Early Bird, I'm sorry, for Early Bird. So in this regard, what would you say that makes Early Bird a cool company? What are you taking the company culture wise in terms of in the next few years?
Besides
Definitely.
the CEO dressing up as a tooth fairy.
Oh, besides that,
well, that's once a year. That's once a year.
Which is cool in and of itself.
Our annual parties are very weird. No, for us, and as an entrepreneur and having built other companies, culture is such a core foundation of any successful company. And so we have a really strong set of values that we care about. And the first one is always family first, right? We are really a family-driven organization, and we believe in truly empowering and enabling kids to from a financial standpoint to truly be the best that they can, and that starts with inside the company. And so parents or to be parents or uncles, whoever it is, right, we understand that not only is family first, but we are a family collectively in our organization. So truly living by the terms of transparency and collaboration, and really finding ways to work together and to take the knowledge of everyone into account. So those are really the foundational values of our company. And we are hiring. We're hiring very quickly. We have 2 open job listings right now for a front-end tech lead and a back-end tech lead engineer. So those 2 roles are open, and we've just hired a couple more, and we'll be scaling quickly. We're raising our next fundraising round the next 2 months about, and so there'll be just a lot of growth opportunities.
Perfect. Jordan, any final words of wisdom for the audience? Anything that you would like to leave them with?
I think if there are any parents watching, I just highly, highly encourage you to really challenge yourself if you haven't yet to get started now. And of course, Early Bird is a great option, but there are others. And the biggest thing is just don't be scared of starting to invest anywhere, if that's even for yourself or your child, because we live in a world where fintech and finance is more accessible than it's ever been. And so it's so critical to start having your money work for you and having your money make money. And really the best way to do that is to get involved in investing. And so if it's for your child, please come with us. If it's for yourself, there's a lot of great apps out there like Robinhood, or if you want more of a guided way, Acorns. And so I just highly encourage, do a little research, but don't let fear lead, and just get involved and get started, because it will make a massive impact for your future and your child's future.
There you go. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, I will second that, Jordan. I think it's interesting. I've seen fintech evolve over the past 30 years, and I can say some of these technology and platforms are only available to really the top traders in the marketplace, the tools that have been made available to consumers, the algorithm. It's incredible how intuitive these platforms are. And it sounds as though you've created one that's made it fun and gamified it, and enhances parents' ability to create a better financial future for their children. You've definitely got a new customer right here listening. I'm going to download the app, take advantage. I still have some young children myself. So
amazing. Happy to hear.
Thanks for joining us. Stay with us as we go off the air. Carlos, what do we got coming up? We have anything for the rest of the week or next week?
No, actually, well, not for the rest of the week, Tulio, but however, we do have a full week next week. Okay, so, well, of course, and then there's the Monday recap, as you know, that's every week, in which we recap this week's conversations in 10 minutes. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to have, respectively, we're going to be speaking with Kira Wojak and Ayal Yo Jeff. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, but these are the principles of Anjuna Security. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a conversation with Bikram Varu from Consejo Sano. And finally, on Thursday, we'll be speaking with Kostat Sauzis from Net Data. So those are all at 12 noon Pacific, right here on Dojo Live. Don't miss them. We're going to be here waiting for you guys. Thank you so much.
See you all soon. Be safe.